The August 4th, 2025 meeting of the Bay City City Commission will come to order. The clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Cubitt. Present. Coakley.
Here.
Bernie Obershaw.
Here.
Tenney.
Here.
DeWitt.
Here.
Rumberg.
Here.
Charlebois.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
And Mr. Mayor. Sorry.
Present. All here in a count of 4. We have a quorum. All right, and first order of business, we do not have any presentations. So we are into the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Commissioner Tenney.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Commissioner Morris.
Second.
All right, do any members of the commission wish to add any items to the agenda? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the agenda?
Commissioner Cubitt. Approve. Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, the agenda for this evening has been adopted. So the next order of business is the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Okay, the next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove an item from consent for consideration on their regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, print your name on the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item you wish to have considered on the regular agenda. Okay, seeing no one come forward, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner Tenney.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Cubitt. Yes. 8 yes.
All right, consent agenda has been approved. So the next order of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will serve as the timekeeper. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward. Again, print your name on the registration sheet and state your name and address for the record. Oh, make sure it's green.
Jessica Tenney, 901 North Walnut Street. I'm a tenant in the city of Bay City at 901 North Walnut. As of July 13th, my ceiling began caving in my living room. This is approximately 25% of my living space. My ceiling was sinking about 5 inches lower than it should have been in my living room. I contacted my landlord that day and let him know. He came out the next day and looked at it. He wasn't willing to even step underneath of it because it was so unsafe. There was drywall falling. He left it for the evening and said he'd have someone come back and look at it. As of July 15th, a contractor came out and told him that it was much worse than he anticipated it to be, and the way that he was trying to have him fix it was unsafe. The contractor couldn't figure out why there was so much weight causing the drywall to sink down as there was no moisture. He cut a hole in the ceiling and found that there were 3 layers of drywall above the existing layer of drywall. My landlord at that point in time told him to use 2.5-inch drywall screws to try and fasten the 4th layer of drywall to the already 3 layers of sinking drywall. They weren't able to hit a joist, but he continued to have him just use those drywall screws to support this entire load without painting or finishing it, and walked away. As of July 16th, I filed a complaint with the city, the Code Enforcement Department, and I emailed that to Sue Coggins. On July 17th, Raquel called me and said an inspection could not be scheduled for 3 weeks until August 6th, despite there being a safety hazard with children in the room, in the house. She told me there is no difference for emergent or non-emergent work codes to address safety issues. And when I asked if there was a cancellation list, she told me there was not. My commissioner, Joe, called at that point. He called Dana and asked the inspection to be moved up. On July 18th, I talked to Joe about these issues. He told me that there was an inspection scheduled for July 21st with code enforcement at 1 p.m. On July 22nd, I talked to Joe about the inspection and asked him to email Dana to get a copy of the report from the code enforcement inspectors. As when I asked the inspector what the actionable next steps were to get this repaired, he told me he would call the landlord and have a conversation about what he wanted to do to correct it. And I still had no actionable next steps forward. So I asked Joe to reach out to Dana and get a copy of that report and get a copy of the code enforcement process to understand why tenants wouldn't be provided with a copy of that report. I didn't hear back, so on July 23rd, I emailed Sue asking for a copy of this report. She told me I would have to send a FOIA request to Dana in order to get a copy of this report. On July 28th, I emailed Dana's city email with a FOIA request. As of July 30th, I still had no repairs done on my house. They were supposed to be coming at 9 a.m. to do the repairs. I went there at 10:17 a.m., no one was there, but my front door was left unlocked and there was no one present in the home. I came back later that afternoon, no one was there and no work had been done. I came back at 10 p.m., no work had been done. July 30th, the same day, I called Joe to ask about a status of the report as I still had no actionable next steps or repairs done to my home. On July 31st, there was supposedly a medical emergency with the contractor. He didn't show up. July 31st, I didn't hear back from Joe. I called him again to ask for a status of the report and what the actionable next steps were. August 1st, the contractor was given a key to my home unbeknownst to me, and he began a new set of repairs that were at the recommendation of the code inspector that are still not up to building codes. August 1st, I called Joe to ask about the status of the report. He was belligerent and spewing nonsense about my character, saying he's too busy and he doesn't know what to do, and I hung up. August 3rd, the repairs were still unfinished. The ceiling is still sagging. The boards on a grid are already falling. The fan is ready to fall. The ceiling under the grid is unfinished. The grid is not up to code. And my landlord tells me he owes me no explanation as to what is being done or when it will be finished. As of this morning, August 4th, when I left for work today, the ceiling still is not repaired. Today is day 23, where my living room has been uninhabitable by definition because it's not up to building standards. I pay $1,300 a month in rent. I do not expect this type of treatment. So I want to go on and speak to the plethora of systemic failures that I just addressed in this timeline, but first I want to speak directly to my commissioner. Joe, not in any capacity as my commissioner or as a fellow human, do you have permission to speak to me as you did last week? You do not have permission to disrespect me, and you don't have permission to make baseless claims about my character in an attempt to avoid.
Commissioner Runberg.
Move to provide speaker 2 more minutes.
All right, is there objection? Okay, I do want to say to the rules of the commission, you can't direct your comments to a commissioner directly.
Got it?
So you can talk about the issues that you're having, but
Okay. No commissioner in this room who is an elected official has permission to speak to their residents and pivot and attack their character in an attempt to get out of accountability for something that they said they were going to do. I expect any elected official to hold themselves to the same standard I would and do what they say they are going to do. When I reached out to Joe, in addition to telling me he was too busy, he told me that I'm seemingly going to war with everyone without even knowing me. I'm not really sure why you're hung up on this word war, but war requires tactics and strategy, both of which you've said you do not have, nor do you feel empowered to lean into.
Point of order.
Equipped with those.
You can say you're a commissioner, but try not to address him directly or your commissioner directly.
Okay.
You can tell what happened, but it's a one-way conversation. He can't say anything back right now. You can tell us what happened, but just,
Okay.
it's just rules of the chamber.
Got it. To all the elected officials here, please do not run as commissioner when you state that you don't know the processes of this city, when you don't feel empowered to inquire about the processes of this city, when you don't feel capable of passing resolutions, when you don't feel you can work with the city manager and talk shit on her when your constituents call you, and when you clearly aren't interested in helping or hearing from your constituents. Instead, you want to pass your constituents and any related issues they've had on to other commissioners. So my ask is, do better. Represent your constituents with equitable representation when they call you and ask you for help because they don't know what else to do. I'm here to speak about the larger issues at hand also. It seems to be a mindset and culture of quick fixes, complacency, and a lack of empowerment and engagement. No response most certainly is a response, and doing nothing is never an acceptable answer. When I inquire about a city process that's inequitably impacting me and my children's safety, and ask my commissioner to do the same, this most certainly is not an act of war. It's an attempt at holistically understanding the processes in play, the stakeholders involved in the processes, and the policies that govern both. Making a phone call to move up an inspection, then letting your constituents do the work you said you would do is nothing more than slapping on a Band-Aid to stop the bleeding
Time.
and check off a box.
Unfortunately, to the rules of the commission, you can only have one extension.
That's fine. I've sent the FOIA appeal to all of your emails. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Richard Luzak, 1707 Fremont. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, a year ago I stood here and asked the Commission, why does the City of Bay City need its own wastewater treatment plant? With the data that I was able to find and the data that's publicly available, I can find no reason that the city should continue to operate its own wastewater treatment plant on a long-term basis. As was suggested 15 years ago in the Bay City Times, the city should merge with the county wastewater treatment plant, as did the city of Essexville and Hampton Township. The business case for this merger that seems obvious to me is this, that each plant has a capacity of 32 million gallons per day, but the city is only processing 7 million gallons per day on a typical day, and the county is processing only 6 million gallons per day. It seems obvious that either one of these plants alone could process the 13 million gallons of wastewater. And so it seems obvious that the cost of this excess capacity in the city is just money that the city is throwing away, the money that could be spent on other things, money that city residents are paying through their sewage rates. It seems obvious also that it would only take one plant and one staff to process the combined wastewater flow. There are obstacles, opposition, and costs to be considered. This merger would require approval by the State Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. There would be opposition from various internal and external groups to be dealt with. But there would be a cost savings from the consolidation as well. We simply don't need two wastewater treatment plant staffs about 1.5 miles apart. I believe the initial phase of consolidation would be to merge both plants under one administration and budget, which would permit management of costs in such a way as to make the combined operation a success. And I would propose that that a merged utility would not be referred to as a city system or a county system, but rather as a regional wastewater system to kind of take the emotional edge off of what was going on. The alternative to the formation of a regional wastewater authority is to saddle a shrinking population of Bay City with never-ending increases of costs of operating our own wastewater treatment plant. For example, to replace the trickling filters in last year's budget and this year's budget, it took millions of dollars of ARPA funds. But where's the money going to come from for other capital improvements that are needed in the future? I think the commission needs to take definitive action to take control of the situation instead of allowing the situation to take control of us and of you and of the citizens of Bay City. It seems logical to merge these operations. It seems almost indisputable that these should be merged. I think you should prepare a list of pros and cons for this proposal, advantages and disadvantages. And in this case, instead of making the decision yourselves, I would suggest to you that you should put such a proposal to a direct vote of the people so that they can have their hands on the decision and understand exactly what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Davidson. I live on Marsack Street. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking against Commissioner Tenney's resolution regarding no-knock warrants. I believe it is micromanaging the city and the Department of Public Safety, and it is government overreach. I believe public safety knows their job and the tools that they need to do their job. Warrants are signed by a judge. There are multiple levels of review. This resolution may hinder collaboration with other organizations. The Department of Public Safety has procedures for the use of their body cameras. The body camera footage is retained per standard retention time periods in the industry. I don't think that we as Bay City needs another tragic incident such as the one that took the lives of officers Frank Kowalkowski, I hope I said that right, Terry Jablonski, and Raymond Rexer. Those were very, very sad days for Bay City. I was around for two of them. As I've stated previously in other discussions at other meetings, I think that we have other things, better things to worry about in this city than this. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ben Krasminski, Public Safety Officer.
Just make sure into the mic.
Sorry. Good evening. Ben Krasminski, Bay City Department of Public Safety, 501 3rd Street. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and express my concerns regarding the resolution on banning no-knock search warrants. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ben Krasminski, as I stated. I've been a police officer for a total of 17 years. 12 of which I've been with Bay City Department of Public Safety as a public safety officer. During those 17 years, I've been assigned to various units, including road patrol, community policing, narcotics investigations, and the Detective Bureau. I'm currently the Detective Sergeant and President of the Command Officers Association of Michigan for Bay City. While serving in these capacities, I have participated in countless search warrants, including only a handful or a few no-knock search warrants. What happened on March 13th in 2020 in Louisville, Kentucky to Breonna Taylor is a tragedy and inexcusable. It should have never happened. I appreciate the Commission's attempt at being proactive and keeping the community and the police officers safe. I do think that your heart and thoughts are in the right place. But the facts in the Breonna Taylor incident is much deeper and more complex than the fact it occurred because of a no-knock search warrant. Yes, officers executed a no-knock search warrant, but there are also questions regarding the affidavit for the search warrant the officers wrote and swore to. During the investigation, the intended target, or the suspect, had previously dated Breonna Taylor. They had broken up prior to the execution of that search warrant. In the affidavit that the officers wrote, they stated that they had collaborated with the United States Postal Inspector and verified that the intended target, or the suspect, had received packages to Breonna Taylor's apartment. It was later revealed through an investigation with the DOJ that officers had not contacted the postal inspector to verify this information, as stated in their affidavit. While officers executed the search warrant, Breonna's current boyfriend had fired a warning shot, believing the officers were intruders and not police officers. Officers began shooting into the residence blindly, killing Breonna. The Department of Justice began an investigation into the Louisville Metro Police Department after the Breonna Taylor tragedy, concluding that there was a pattern of civil rights violations by that department. There's a saying that bad facts make for bad law. The Breonna Taylor tragedy wasn't a result of a no-knock search warrant. It was a result of constant poor police practices by the Louisville Metro Police Department, beginning with the investigation, failing to corroborate information, poor supervision, and returning fire blindly into a residence. And that's just to name a few. To vote on a resolution with such major implications with only a week to obtain all the facts would make for bad law. I am proud and I am honored to work for this department that has such high standards. We are an accredited agency. We are reaccredited every 3 years on our general orders and our operational procedures. Bay City Department of Public Safety's operational procedure regarding search warrants prohibits no-knock search warrants unless there are exigent circumstances that knocking and announcing would put officers in danger. In order to obtain a no-knock search warrant, officers must be able to articulate that the suspect poses a threat to law enforcement. This may be accomplished through credible information, surveillance, and the suspect's criminal history. If it is established that the suspect poses a threat to law enforcement, then the no-knock clause must be included in the affidavit in the search warrant. Both documents are then reviewed by and signed by the prosecutor and the judge. That's for the checks and balances. As law enforcement, our main goal during our shift is the safety of everyone, including individuals present during a search warrant, innocent bystanders, suspects, police officers, neighbors. With the inherent risk of any search warrant, we try to avoid entering occupied residences and with using alternate methods to execute a search warrant. Unfortunately, every circumstance and every incident is unique, requiring various strategies and detailed tactics. The last no-knock that I was a part of, the last no-knock search warrant I participated in, was about 3 years ago that I can recall. It does not happen often, but it was necessary to give us a tactical advantage on the suspect to prevent injuries to officers or other occupants in the residence.
Time.
All right, Commissioner Runberg.
Move to provide the speaker 2 more minutes.
All right. Support Commissioner Bernie Obershaw. Oh, not at this point, no. Commissioner Morris.
Second.
All right, is there any objection? Seeing none, you have 2 more minutes.
Thank you, sir. Using the element of surprise during that search warrant prevented the suspect from retrieving a firearm and using it on law enforcement. During the execution of that search warrant that I explained, a firearm was located next to the suspect. In closing, this resolution was brought to the commission without having all the facts. Breonna Taylor was killed from poor police practices by the Louisville Metro Police Department and not from a no-knock search warrant. The United States Supreme Court has ruled that no-knock search warrants are legal under some circumstances. I am concerned that removing this tactic may put law enforcement, in danger by giving the suspect time to retrieve a firearm and shoot at officers or worse, take other occupants inside the residence as hostage. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Paul Kleidow, 1713 10th Street. I didn't necessarily come with any pre-planned remarks. I'm speaking a bit off the cuff here. Specifically on this no-knock warrant discussion, I somewhat fundamentally disagree with the prior speaker. The goal of blocking those warrants is not just the defense of the potential criminal going into those warrants. It is to protect the officers themselves. So I can tie this directly into situations that are happening right now. In America, ICE is acting very aggressively throughout the country. They're often doing so well masked, covered up in civilian plainclothes in unmarked vehicles. There are videos all over the internet of someone driving down the street with a dash cam. An ICE officer apparently stops a car, gets out, pulls a weapon, and run towards the car of the presumably legal American citizen. We have a Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says if someone jumps out of their car and pulls a gun on you, you have a reasonable suspicion that you should be able to defend yourself. Obviously, that's going to result in that federal officer getting shot. We're lucky it hasn't, to be frank. Why would we put police officers through that risk? Like in the Breonna Taylor case, not to impugn the victim, the story is, again, that someone busted into this room and, well, waking up in your house, if you all of a sudden hear a door busting down and people shouting and no one says, hello, this is law enforcement, or it just happens so fast you can't rely, you might pull out a weapon. You might even shoot. You think you're doing home defense. So the no-knock warrant is exacerbating that issue. And when an officer goes to the door and they say, hello, we are the police, that lets the person inside know, you don't randomly shoot this person. You are not doing home defense if you shoot this person. They have to make a decision to comply, right? So, yes, we can conceive of a scenario where someone has a gun across the house, and if you knock on the door and say, this is the police, they can run across the house and, I guess, grab the weapon. But how does that balance with the fact that people legally are allowed to have weapons, legally expect to use those in home defense, and if you don't announce who you are, especially if you're, say, masked or helmeted or something like that, why wouldn't you shoot? So we're trying to protect officers with this. There's a reason these bills, these no-knock bills, do not just exist in, like, blue states. Florida has a no-knock warrant restriction, right? This is for the defense of both officers and civilians, and that is why it is important. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Davidson, 1218 Marsac. I was not going to speak. I was going to let the wife handle it. But since I heard the thing about ICE, I have to come up here. This resolution is an overreach of government, city government. Every one of you city commissioners, you vote for this, it's an overreach. I know you're trying to protect the citizens, but it also, when my wife was reading this to me, it sounded like it come forward because of the failure of cooperating with ICE. Maybe it is and maybe it isn't, but it is an overreach. It is not your job to tell the city police department what to do. It is hers. You need to talk to her before you can bring a resolution like this, or talk to the chief of police on what kind of effect that this resolution would be.
1 second. Can the commissioners try not to make comments during public speaking, please? It is a one-way conversation, and
This is not a one-way conversation. I said every one of you.
no, I'm not.
You're fine.
I'm not talking to you.
Okay, I apologize then. It just gets me going. I'll stumble over my words all the time, and I just think you're overreaching. You're definitely overreaching on this. These people know what to do. Have you ever heard of a lawsuit against police department where the defendant won? I've heard of one since the 12 years I was in, and it was a minor in possession, which we have no tolerance in this state for. And we just followed the state law and we got caught for it. Shame on you if you vote for this. You need to do your homework. Talk to the department heads. Go to the manager and ask the manager, may I talk to the city chief of police? For somewhere you guys are losing the chain of command. Or shall I talk to the commission president and then take it into the city manager? You need to get a little class, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Officer Rustin LaRose, 501 3rd Street, Bay City, Michigan, 48708. We'd first like to thank you for the opportunity to speak here. As I said, I'm Officer Rustin Andrew LaRose. I've been with the City of Bay City for 6 years now. My current role, I'm in community policing, but before that I was in patrol operations, working day shift, night shift, a little bit of here, there, and everywhere. Now I'm in a special duty position in community policing. It takes me off of the road for patrol.
You just make sure you're speaking direct. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, tall guy. It takes me off the road a little bit, but I still do take part in a lot of patrol operations, typically kind of as I'm needed. I've also been the president of the Bay City Police Officers Association, which is a union associated with POAM, Police Officers Association of Michigan. Through my time here, I have applied for and executed several search warrants. Primarily they're for blood alcohol. I have personally never needed to apply for, obtain, or execute a no-knock search warrant, but I do understand the tactic and the need in certain circumstances. No-knock search warrants are not a common practice for us, but they do play an important role in officer safety during high-risk search warrants. We do get arrest warrants for armed and dangerous individuals. We do seek those suspects out. We do arrest them. This is a fact of my job. Not allowing individuals time to prepare an ambush is a tactic that we use to save police lives and the lives of suspects. Our goal is safety all around. The State Police ES team, which is the SWAT team that we utilize for a majority of our high-risk operations, does and can ask for these search warrants in certain circumstances. In applying for these, it is our policy to weigh the totality of the circumstances, the charges faced, the ownership or use of firearms, and criminal history. These must then be given to a judge for review within the affidavit and approved in the original warrant. So we can't just freelance here. That current policy affords for checks and balances. It allows it to be reviewed by a separate third party. We understand the importance of that. It's a clear step beyond what the current state law is. We do this to ensure the safety of all those involved. It's a part of being an accredited agency, something we sought out and obtained. It's a big honor to have that. It's a title we wear proudly. We put it on all our vehicles. It shows that we are above and beyond, we go above and beyond what is required in ensuring that all members of this community are safe and protected. In a no-knock warrant, it does not mean no announce. It doesn't mean we're sneaking in quietly with night vision. We are still loud. We do still make noise. All of our officers are trained to announce during room clearances and give clear direction of who we are and what we are there for. This is achieved by repeatedly shouting, "Police, search warrant," during room clearing, building clearing. Our goal is so that there is no misunderstanding of who we are and no misidentification. Additionally, my body-worn camera is to start before I exit my vehicle and remain on for the duration of the incident only turning off when I'm leaving the scene. The immediate tactical application of these was made clear during an incident in Charlotte, North Carolina last year. During a felony warrant attempt on a suspect with several warrants, including one for a felon in possession of a firearm, an additional one for sexual assault, a suspect was able to observe police approaching. As the officer stepped out of the vehicle to give commands using a vehicle loudspeaker, the suspect barricaded himself into the residence, taking 2 innocent bystanders and firing a rifle at officers. During the fusillade of gunfire, the suspect shot 4 Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers and 4 United States Marshals. Tragically, 1 Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer and 3 United States Marshals were killed during this incident. The suspect was also killed. The element of surprise does carry a danger in and of itself, but allowing a suspect to prepare an elevated position for an assault on law enforcement is far more dangerous. The resolution that sits before you is one that's strongly opposed by the Bay City Police Officers Association and the Police Officers Association of Michigan. I understand the mindset behind the resolution. I was able to have great conversation with a lot of these commissioners. But to knowingly limit the tools available to law enforcement is to knowingly put officers and the public at risk. This was drafted without any input from law enforcement, was put onto the table this evening with no notice. At no point was any member of the Bay City Department of Public Safety contacted or consulted in this drafting. We reached out when we saw it on the agenda. We strive to be the best agency we can be.
Commissioner Runberg,
Move to provide speaker 2 more minutes.
is there a second? Commissioner Morris,
Second.
any objection? Seeing none, the speaker has 2 more minutes.
Thank you, Commissioners. We strive to be the best agency we can be to serve the community that we work for and we live in. Our ultimate goal is for everyone, both law enforcement and citizens, including suspects, to go home safe at night. This resolution does not lead us any closer to that goal. I therefore strongly encourage the Commission to vote no on this resolution. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public input? Seeing no one, the next order of business are remarks of the mayor and commission. Do commissioners have remarks? Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you to the chair. You know I do. I would just like to give a list of thank yous for a very successful 4th Ward block party that occurred on Saturday, August the 2nd at Rexler Jablonski Park. I would like to point out that one of the things that I've been guilty of myself is having family help me out first, but thanking them last. I think a lot of public servants could probably relate to that. So I'm going to give the first thank you to my family tonight who helped immensely with all sorts of things in preparation for this event. I'd also like to acknowledge that officers Rexler and Jablonski should be alive today, and appreciate the park that was in their namesake, the Parks Department for working with me, the Arc of Bay County for donating material goods to stuff in backpacks, Jan's Party Store, Cayenne's Ice Cream Cart, Jessica from the Electric Kish who DJ'd all day, Shelly Harless who donated school supplies, Minerva Gonzalez who donated a raffle prize, anonymous donors who donated school supplies, all of the attendees, and the volunteers. We gave away around 100 backpacks, grilled over 100 hot dogs, over 100 faces were painted. I feel like the community felt like community that day, and that is a good thing. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
First, I'd like to say I really enjoyed your block party, had a great time. Great time with the kids. You really did a good job with that, so I really enjoyed that. I know you guys got pictures on your desk. It's about Bernie Park. We need some work over there done with the grass and things like that, so You got pictures over there, so I hope that we can get Parks and Recreation over there to cut the grass and do the gardens and things like that. We need repairs on the benches and the play area for the kids and things like that. So now I just, when officer, I respect all of you guys, and but you just really just kind of like took me to the edge with what you were saying about Rexer Jablonski. I don't know if I can say what I want to say, but I just really got upset when you talked about the no-knock thing. Can I say something about that? Because what I really wanted to say is that I feel that you guys are young. So when it comes to this,
I think you should just address in generalities and speak.
okay, what I want to say is stereotyping. And I want to ask you, do you know, I'm 60 years old.
You can't direct questions to
No,
the
okay,
officers.
what I want to say, I'm 62 years old, and I've seen a lot of things. And so when you tell these stories about other cities and other states about what has happened, like with Breonna Taylor. So I want to say, because there's officers here that know exactly what I'm talking about this no-knock thing. So I'm going to mention names of people that were here in Bay City that were murdered, and police officers were involved at this time, and I'm going to give names. Eric Brown, young man, dead. Nothing police officers did or said, disappeared. We got Lawrence Pickett, dead, no knock. We have Mr. Coleman, dead. Police there, doesn't know what's wrong. We can't ask as African-American people what happened to our family. Mr. Mackey, in police custody, dead. Larry Holder, driving, police there, dead. Michael Holder, Andre Coleman, Brad Nikki, 14 years old, tasered by an officer, dead. We have people that have gone through this with police officers, and we have had no one say anything about these people. I'm not happy when someone stands up and talks about people from another city, another state. I am at this age that I have seen a lot of things from officers. And you tell me about no knock? Let's do this. Let's talk about police officers having to have a background check. We need to know who we have in this city that are looking after the people. Let's talk about things like this. In Flint, Michigan, there was a black little girl, and she was in a burning house, her family. And the officer ran inside, was inside, and the child burned. They asked him when he ran outside, is there anyone in that building? He said no. That officer was hired a month later here in Bay City, Michigan. That child, African-American child, died. We did no background check. Even if we did, he ended up working here in Bay City, Michigan. I feel that we need to do a background check on these officers. I'm just not happy with officers calling me and asking me and telling me what is good for my city when we don't even know who we're bringing in here. I'm not good with it, especially when you have Eric Brown, Lawrence Pickett, Mr. Coleman, Mr. Mackey, Larry, all these people are dead, and they knock on our door, and we go to them and say, what happened to our family? Can you tell us? And really, they just say, okay, they're gone. No, it's unacceptable. I do not trust this situation. There's officers sitting in here right now that know what I'm talking about, and they're sitting there probably smirking. No, I want my fellow commissioners to not listen to this and do the right thing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Coakley.
Got a couple of things. Through the Mayor to the city manager. You do background checks for police officers?
We do background checks on every single city hire, including the public safety officer.
Extensive?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. Now, we have Commissioner Bernie's pictures here. Did you get a chance to look at them?
I did.
Now, the stuff does need to be definitely taken care of. That tall grass, is that supposed to be like that, right? The pictures behind?
We're going to go out and take a look at it.
Okay,
It's
okay,
easier
good.
for us
Yeah,
to
it's
take a
just,
look at it.
yeah,
Right.
because if that needs to be
Right.
taken care of, it most definitely needed taken care of. Appreciate that. Getting to the things that I want to talk about. I have been talking, communication with the city manager on this. 514 North Sherman, we are planning on taking down the city a couple large canopy trees. I want to thank the city manager for getting the arborist to give us a detailed description of what's going on. I just want to make sure when we're doing this with the trees, especially the older canopy trees in our city, that we're sure. If there's a chance to save them, let's take the opportunity to save them. If they're a danger and they need to come down, then let's get them replaced as soon as possible. Even if there's a possibility with the two trees next to each other on Sherman Street like this, can we do one this year? Get the one planted, give it a chance to grow a little bit, then take down the other one? There's options. I mean, if it's got to come down, it's got to come down. But if there's a chance to save it, let's do everything we can to keep the trees going. Like I said, I want to thank the city manager for taking the time, getting the report, and doing her due diligence on this. And like I said, just when we're doing it, let's be sure, especially on the older canopy trees. Across the street on 515 North Sherman, there's a smaller tree that's growing into the wires. Somebody brought that to my attention. I didn't get a chance to send you an email on it. 515 North Sherman. Also want to take an opportunity. I know I've been a little bit of a pain sending in multiple sidewalks, potholes, trees that need to be fixed, but they're getting done. I appreciate it. I know they're not all in my ward, but it's good to see that when somebody brings something to our attention and you bring it forward, there is something getting done. That's it.
Can you give me clarification on 515 North Sherman, what the tree?
So they're getting in the wires.
Oh, okay.
I went out there and I looked at the two trees that, and like I said, me looking at the trees, I'm not an expert on it. I mean, the trees looked good to me, but by no means do I plan or say I'm an expert on these things. That's why the arborists are there for the reason of taking care of that. But yeah, across the street, apparently there's something. I didn't notice it, but I was so focused on the ones that were marked to be taken down.
All right, all set, Commissioner. I have Commissioner Shalaba next, and then Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
Yes, I'd just like to say a few things. I don't feel like I'm in the business of endangering my constituents' lives. Many years ago, I had a house burned down next door to me. I made the mistake of leaving the windows open, and you haven't lived till you smell burnt vinyl siding. I walked into my house, I said, well, my family's not staying here tonight. This is unsafe. We moved to a motel. I think we were there for a week or 10 days, something like that. I don't remember. But the point is, if a system breaks down, you get your family out of harm's way however you can. Put on a credit card, I don't care how you do it. And in the case of not returning constituents' phone calls, if something's already in the works, there's no point to it, especially if you're busy. And sometimes constituents, you couldn't jump high enough, you couldn't run fast enough, you couldn't paint it correctly, you just couldn't do it right. You can't satisfy them. And along the lines of quite a few commissioners here feel like there isn't enough teeth in some of the inspections, and 3-week out inspection, that seems pretty big, and especially if it is dangerous. But what I'm getting at, it won't help maybe somebody today or a few days from now, but what it will help is if we get some teeth in some of these inspections and how it's done, or, you know, I mean, I've heard cases of people, there's no steps in the front of the building. I mean, it's, you know, it's pretty stark. And I think we all know what a slumlord is, and I think we all know what a landlord is. They're two different animals. I live on a block, they're owned by three people. Or I'm sorry, 3 houses owned by the same person. He's not a slumlord. The roofs are in shape. They have state-of-the-art heating and cooling. Well, they don't have cooling, but they got furnaces, good siding. It's not the same thing. And if slumlords are getting away with it, that's where we gotta put some work into. And I think it's in the works. It's just kind of trying to come up with how we do that. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernie Obershaw.
Is there a way that, how do we make sure that the officers are, make sure that we are interviewing them the right way, that we are putting them in the database? How can we make sure that they are on the up and up? I mean, you know, if they are asking for these sort of things, the cameras, no knock, and they're having a problem with that, then we need to feel safe with them. You know, we need to be able to go on that database, and just like they can look us up, just like they can tag our cars and pull us up, tail us. That's what they do. They've tailed me and pulled my plate up and ride me like a horse. My son parked in front of my house and pulled right up and run his plate. Now, why can't we have that authority? Because we're putting our lives in their hands. I'm frustrated because I really feel that this has to do with that ICE money. I believe that funding money has gotten to everyone's head. I believe the sheriff's department is going to, you say that they have deputized. They say we have some of the sheriff's department that has been deputized to deal with. Can I ask Officer Rowell to come up, because he said it right here as he stood here.
So more appropriate, you can ask the city manager to have the chief.
City manager, has the sheriff's department been deputized?
I don't know if the director Rowell knows that, but he can come up and answer that. It's more appropriate for him to answer.
That would be news to me if he has. The last I talked to him, that was not happening.
2 meetings ago, you said that a couple of them were deputized. So which is it? You said there was a few that were deputized, and so, you know, I mean, I can look it up in the minutes.
Pointer of order, I don't know. I know you asked the question and he said no. You're saying it's in the minutes. I mean, that. Is there any other questions specific? Yeah.
Okay, are we having, I gotta put the question right. Are we having any, are we getting any funding that's going to come from the government to deal with ICE?
Not that I'm aware of.
So we're not going to, with the cameras, are we going to use these databases if you were to get the cameras? Are you going to share our data outside of the city of Bay City? or through the United States database with
Is
other
this
sheriff.
point of order? I don't know if this is the time. We're having a meeting about the flock.
Right, but I'm going to ask.
You're having a meeting right now.
Right, but it's going to coincide with what I'm saying to him, because
Okay.
with the database, that goes with the no knock, because they're going to run our license plates or, you know, whatever. He's with the police department. It all coincides together.
I'm no expert on flock. And like I said, it's just, I mean, but I don't, last time I
Okay,
talked,
thank
the
you.
database-
Thank you.
I have a
Okay,
question.
you all set, Commissioner?
I'm all set.
Okay.
I just wanted to know if it was going to be all intertwined with the ICE.
All right, and I
situation.
actually have another commissioner first, if it's related, you can, okay, so go ahead, Commissioner Coakley.
Just a quick question. What does that say on your patch?
Chief?
For who?
Bay City.
Doesn't say sheriff on there?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Well, they're all in the same building, so he should know everything, shouldn't they?
No.
Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Runberg, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't have anything for you, Director. I do appreciate it, though. I just wanted to have a couple shout-outs here. First off, Labby Rib Fest, I think, was a great time. I went out there, saw it called Blue Oyster Cult, and I want to thank Wendy and Jay for being the organizing brains behind that event. And I hope to see more events on the west side. I do feel that there's a lot that the Midland Street Management District and Vets Park has to offer, and hopefully we can continue to bring events like the Be Cool car, not Be Cool, but the car show that Greg Kimbrough puts on, and other events like that. But it was a successful fest as far as I could tell. Also wore my Home Depot apron there because by day I had to sell doors and windows, and by night I got to play the city commissioner. So that's that. There was another event yesterday over in front of the county building. There was the BCBP protest, the Bridge Partner protest. That was a safe event. It was successful there. It looks like the Saginaw Bay DSA, Bay City Resistance, and the Bridge Resistance put on a safe and informative event. Brought in some speakers, a couple candidates for office. So kudos to them for keeping it safe and productive. And then a question to the city manager. I kind of briefly touched on this with the commission president earlier, but that light that's at Walnut coming out, heading west off the bridge off of Liberty, from what I understand, we had a resident once upon a time that had complained about not having a left turn signal there because there's a lot of people stopping in that lane because it's a main thoroughfare, and we just opted to go with the don't turn here at all sign effectively. That is a main thoroughfare for people who are trying to avoid going down to Euclid and taking that way across the city from north to south. I'm just wondering if there is a way, or if there's any consideration that we could maybe take another look at that intersection and see if there's a better way we can handle traffic flow coming off Liberty Bridge.
Yeah, we have reports because that, I mean, obviously the TCO came to commission and then it got changed. And we have information we can forward you from those cover recs because it shows accidents that have been there and the percentage of accidents that we've had there when people are trying to turn. So I will send that out to all of you so you have that information.
I appreciate that. And then another thing that I was discussing earlier too, and I think I just wanted to clarify what the result was of it. JFK Street, the road, the boulevard, alongside Vets Park, that from what we understand, what I deduced was those trees that are between the railroads and the street, those belong to, that's in the easement for the railroad, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then we have some sort of dialogue with them, and that's something that will be brought up?
Yep. Code enforcement is working with them to get access to those types of issues that we're having. So yes, we're working with them.
Okay, appreciate it. And then just the last thing is more of a generality. I understand that people think that it's government overreach when the government tries to regulate the government, which is kind of a mind twister for me. But as far as I understand, who works for whom is we work for our constituents, and then we work through the city manager to make changes in the city, and that's what our responsibilities are. So I'm not sure where that confusion comes from, that somehow it's the other way around, but I do think that each of us here has taken the calls from the interested parties, the stakeholders in Commissioner Tenney's resolution, And I believe, at least I can speak to my own conversations with the individuals I had spoke with, their productive conversations. And I do agree that stakeholders should all be involved in the communication. I'd like to see that. But yes, we do ultimately report to our constituents, and we are the policymakers. We are the legislators for the city jurisdiction. So I don't want that fact to be lost on our system of government. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have a few still. Commissioner Coakley?
Just real quick, want to touch on a couple things. The constituent from Walnut Street, I do agree with her with a situation like that. 3 weeks is quite a time to wait. And if there is nothing in place to expedite something like that, maybe look into it. I mean, we can talk on that after the fact. And with Mr. Luzak and the water treatment, I understand there's two places, there's two different governments. I mean, if we eliminated ours, what would it cost to use theirs? If they used ours, what would the increased cost be? Is it something to look into? We can talk about it later, but it's an idea, and it's not an awful one, so.
All right, thank you. I'm going to, because Commissioner DeWitt hasn't spoken yet, and then I have a few other commissioners who want to speak again. So, Commissioner DeWitt.
Yep, I wanted to start with a few things that are happening coming up here. We just had the Block Party in the 4th Ward run by Mr. Tenney. We have a event run by the South End Citizens District Council on the 14th, which I know at least 2 people in the audience who will be helping volunteer with that event. That is on the 14th from 5 to 8 p.m. at 1001 Marsac, corner of Broadway and Fremont. South End's been doing theirs for a while, and it's going to be interesting to compare how the two events kind of go, so maybe we can get some synergy for larger events going forward. Also, tomorrow is National Night Out, and my personal belief on that is I would love to see us kind of turn that event into a community-based event as well, kind of maybe along the similar vein where we have events with different departments around the city at the other parks. I don't know what the logistics that would look like with cost, because I know doing it in one park is much more efficient, but I would like to see something like that where we bring electric, we bring the city police, we bring trash, and like spread out the event out so people can either choose which area they want to go to, or they can go to the one in their neighborhood that might be easier for them. Like that's a going forward thing, because I know that the cost for that might be a little bit too intrusive for us to handle, but I would like to see that event as it was originally created in a neighborhood still. I also want to note that I am mildly saddened that the person that was from the 6th Ward who applied for the Parks Committee couldn't complete that, but I do believe that of the ones that were left, Mr. Multane will do a good job of picking that up. So those are the only comments I had tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Tenney, you had some additional comments?
Yes, thank you, the chair. I wanted to say that I wrote this list before the Black Party. I'm going to say one more thing about the Black Party, and I'm going to shut up about it until next year, I promise. My colleagues that helped out on the day of, I appreciate you. To my colleague from the 3rd and her husband, they helped out all day long helping out. Also, my colleague from the 2nd donated the buns for all those hot dogs we cooked up, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Charlevoix.
Yes, I just want to say that the problem on Walnut Street was moved from 3 weeks to 3 days. That's all I have.
Okay, any other commissioner have comments? Okay, I'm going to keep mine real brief. So this weekend, if you see a bunch of fishermen in town, a bunch of boats, that's pretty cool. They're from all over the country, I believe. They come and they fish here, and they spend money here, and invest their time. And so if you have a chance to talk with any of those fishermen, I stumbled into some last year. They come and they patronize our restaurants and enjoy our community. So if you see them out and about, or citizens, ask them. They're always interested in sharing their experience here. A couple upcoming events: City of Mural Festival, August 21st through the 25th. So there'll be several murals. I know there's some postings online if you want to check those out. That's always a fun event. I think we're 3rd or 4th year now. So they'll be all throughout the community, and we have one going up in Winona Park. And then I know the 6th Ward Commissioner mentioned the National Night Out. I don't know if there's any other comments the manager will make on that. And then Apparently, I might be in a dunk tank, so you can check that out for the Salvation Army. It'll be announced somewhere, yeah. They wanted to do it really cheap. I said, it's going to be very expensive if I get in that dunk tank. So that's all I have. The manager?
Yes, just to expand on National Night Out. So this is, Public Safety has run this National Night Out for years. It's grown so large that we've had to move to Winona Park. They have over 100 vendors, I believe, this year in National Night Out. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. It's a free event, so we like to see everybody come to that. And then City Commission applications were due tonight by 5 p.m. to my office. We had 8 applications. I will be sending out, after we do a background check on them to make sure that they qualify within the 5th Ward, and I'm going to send out a doodle poll to see when we can hold those interviews. That's all I have.
All right. Real brief, Commissioner.
Okay, I just want to say, 3rd Ward people, start putting your applications in. Sooner or later, I will be leaving. So I want everybody to hear me. The golden ticket. So start putting it in. I'm almost going to be retiring soon. I hope everybody hears me. Start putting your applications in, guy. This old lady is getting the heck out of here. So I know the future is, you guys are the future. I love you.
All right.
So
Thank
start
you,
putting it in.
Well, formally, we have to accept your written.
I'm holding it over your head, Gerard. I'm holding it over your head.
All right, put it in writing. Thank you. All right, next item of business is, we're actually no public hearing, so we're in the regular agenda. Next order of business, regular agenda. Will the clerk please read the next item?
Item 1, Commissioner Tenney's resolution prohibiting no-knock warrants.
Is there a motion, Commissioner Tenney?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Rundberg?
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Tenney?
Thank you to the chair. A couple of brief points. Since we're bringing up the names Rexer Jablonski tonight a couple of different times, both in the park where we held the event to serve the 4th Ward, and from a speaker, I just wanted to be known publicly that those officers, while they should be here, they were certainly not murdered in the execution of a warrant. They were murdered when they were responding to a domestic violence call. I also want to highlight that I happily spoke with officers from the unions. I did not proactively communicate with department heads or unions, because here's the thing, as much as we had delightful conversations, and I think that they could agree that they were civil conversations, it's really a test in futility, because we are just not going to agree on certain things, right? So to the speaker's point that was talking about how knock and announce is safer than a no-knock warrant for all parties, it's true. This resolution is intended to protect our law enforcement and the people we serve both. And I will just throw it out there that I'm named after a Genesee County sheriff named Ben Ray Walker, who was shot and killed in the line of duty. So I do care deeply about the safety of our public servants. Additionally, when we talk about people that are going to take the opportunity between a knock and somebody coming in the door to obtain a firearm and shoot and kill police officers, I don't think that that is a linear nor a logical argument. People are going to be less likely to shoot at police officers knowing that they're police officers than they would that somebody who they think is a home intruder, right? Also, I think it's common knowledge that if you shoot at police officers, one of two things is going to happen. A, you're going to get killed, or B, you're going to get buried under the jail, which, fair enough, you should be, right? One of the things that I heard is the body cam footage from before and after. Some of the feedback I received was that the beforehand footage may include some tactical stuff, right? They're kind of industry secrets in that specific search. I would point out that anybody who wanted to see that would have to get a FOIA request granted. And I would bet dollars to doggone donuts that that part would be redacted. Your trade secrets, for lack of better words, or tactics aren't going to be public knowledge. So again, I think that this is very well intended and very clearly would protect both parties, both civilians and law enforcement officers. In speaking with folks that are against this resolution, it feels like they're making my case for me. They say it's dangerous to execute a no-knock warrant. We don't like doing them. We seldom do them. Cool. Well, let's codify what's basically current practice by writing a resolution. If you hate doing them so much, let's help you out with that, right? So again, just deeply care about the safety of everybody. And I think it's pretty apparent that there are some people with that same train of thought out there, including people I serve. Because as one of my colleagues alluded to, we're not beholden to anybody but our constituents. I represent the people of the 4th Ward in Bay City, Michigan, and I'm confident that this resolution is well supported by my constituents. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll leave it there for now.
Okay, Commissioner Runberg, and then, what's that?
I may have something, but I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, okay, sorry. Commissioner Coakley then.
Can I bring the safety director up to ask him some questions?
The request for the city manager.
Yeah, through the city manager. Thank you. I have a few notes here. No knock. I mean, it's just, I heard a lot of definitions of it tonight. I also heard that when it is executed, it's announced police warrant before entering. Can you explain, just explain it to us?
Yes. The term no knock, a lot of people misconstrue it to think that like the police are coming up to the door, breaking it in, running in the house, and then saying, police, search warrant, we're here. And that's just not the case. I've never seen a warrant executed where announcing wasn't done the entire time. As soon as you step on the porch, you're yelling, police, search warrant, the neighbors should hear you. Everybody should hear you as you're breaking in the door. The difference with a no-knock is you don't have to knock and wait, give them an opportunity to answer. That's the biggest difference.
Okay, so the announcement is made. How many times a year do you guys ask for a no-knock, the Bay City Police Department?
In looking through the past few years, I found 4 that we've done since 2021. When I say that we've done, we haven't done any since 2023. It's kind of a misconstruing it a little bit because we technically don't do any because they're high-risk search warrants, and those are done by the Michigan State Police when we request them. So I guess my biggest concern with this resolution is a lot of times when we call them and give them the circumstances, they're going to ask to have a no-knock search warrant to come and help us. If we can't get a no-knock search warrant for whatever reason, if this ordinance were to go into effect or this resolution, they could tell us, well, sorry, we're not coming, and then what do we do? We're not equipped with armored vehicles and specialized equipment, and they have a full-time team that does this all over the state. So that's my biggest concern. The 4 that we've done were done by the Michigan State Police, but we obviously have to assist them because we called them and requested their help. We can't just walk away and say, all right, let us know how it turns out. They make the house safe, and then we do the searching and the interviewing and the investigation once that's complete.
What are your guidelines when you're looking to get a no-knock?
Well, as the two gentlemen from the unions came up here and kind of briefed us a little bit on that, but it has to be a situation where there is specific details that this person may try to harm officers and they're armed. The one I can think of, the gentleman was, selling drugs and had a sawed-off shotgun in his room by his bed, and also was making pipe bombs to booby trap, the house. So this is something where we're going to contact the Michigan State Police Emergency Services team, give them the information, and usually it's them that's going to say, hey, we would like this to be a no-knock search warrant because we don't want to, physically walk up on the porch to knock on the door. We'll announce over a loudspeaker. They announce usually from the street in an armored vehicle. They're shining lights, announcing their presence long before they hit the door.
How easy is it to get a no-knock? I mean,
Well, like I say, we don't ask for them that often, but the prosecutor and the judge both have to agree that it's warranted. It has to be something specific where this person, we have information, number one, that they're armed and that they have a criminal history and that they have made statements or have indicated to other people that they intended to harm people.
you sort of answered this one. I just want to make sure I heard it right. In a joint venture with the county, the state, or federal, and we would ask, the city would ask for the no-knock, or do they ask for the no-knock?
If it's, most of the times in the city, it's our investigation. Like, we're conducting the investigation, we develop the information, we seek the search warrant, but because of the additional circumstances, we request the ES team because it's a high-risk search warrant. And all of these cases, just if I haven't mentioned this already, anytime a high-risk search warrant is executed, they're required to notify the director or my designee if I happen to be gone, to approve or say no. So it has to go all the way up, to me before it gets approved, before it goes to the judge and the prosecutor. And, like I say, one time since I've been director, I think have we actually done one?
You mentioned the one about the shotgun and the pipe bombs. I was going to ask about any positive. How did that one work out?
All of them worked out with nobody getting hurt.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Any negative? I mean, I know Commissioner brought up a bunch of deaths. I don't know if those were no-knock involved or.
To be honest, I mean, you can sit on Google or anywhere and find arguments on both sides of this issue really pretty easily. I mean, there are situations where they've had no-knocks that have ended tragically. There are situations where they've had knock and announce where they've ended tragically for both police and the citizens. I mean, to say one way or the other, I think, is a lot of anecdotal evidence. I think every police department's different. And as you can see, I mean, every time I see, the union president's got up here speaking on behalf of the union tonight, but that's representative of what we have at this department. Professional, courteous people. That's what we do. We serve the public. We're not out trying to hurt anybody. We're trying to do this as safely and with a positive outcome for both citizens and the community. I think anything that limits us to make a decision based off our experience and our training is not a good thing.
Final question, I think you just answered it. Does the Bay City Police Department and the officers want the ability, do they feel safer having this option available?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner DeWitt.
Hi, I'm going to have a few questions that are going to go back and forth, so if you could stay just in case you have an answer for them. The state strike team, was that the same one that was just in Otisville, or that had the issue over the weekend? Do you know if that's the same group specifically? I'm not expecting you to actually know all these answers really quick.
I couldn't tell you. They have a lot of people throughout the state, and you could get different people each time.
Okay, so it's like a farm-out team. Okay. If, I'm going to go hypothetical so you can tell me no, this was to pass, would there be a possibility that this would just be, the paperwork would be farmed out to the county instead of it being filed to the city? Again, I'm not expecting you to actually know
It's
the
hard
ones that
to
was spent on
answer. Nobody's going to want to come and take over a case because we can't do it.
Okay, and then this question is going to be directed toward the city manager. Section 5 about the disciplinary actions and, well, the complaints discipline in general. Sections 5 and actually Section 6, do we have issues with that with the way contracts are written right now?
Yes, it's not just the contracts, it's also the city charter. It's a clear violation of the city charter because police officers, every single employee does not report to the commission, and you can't stipulate their discipline.
Okay, so I'm going to bounce back. Do you see, Director Rowell, a way to of reforms through policy that you think the city commission could do if this went through and if we say we table this, because right now we're just discussing, if we table this, would there be any items that either your side or the union side of officers would say, hey, we want reform for the department in X way that might be able to be suitable for all parties involved? Or are you guys pretty much following a certain guideline and don't want to really stray from that and risk of recruiting other people?
I mean, I think our policy and our operational procedure are very sound in this. Obviously, it's, among the best practices in the state, approved. I'm not saying I'm not open to discussing some things that have to do with no-knock, because as Commissioner Tenney said, they're not safe. If we're asking for a no-knock, it's a high-risk situation no matter what. But it's also, if we don't have the help from the state police, I'm not sending an officer up there to knock on somebody's door. I'm just not doing it. To bring it back to real situation, when Officer Stockmeyer was shot, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 10 years ago now. That was one where the person is running in the house, shooting back out at the officers, and he happened to lean forward, and it just missed his head and grazed him. So we get a former perimeter and get a search warrant for the house. Who in their right mind is going to go up and knock on the door to say, hey, police search warrant? You have to announce it from somewhere else. You can't, it's just not reasonable. Things like that need to be accounted for. I think our body camera policy is very sound, requiring officers to turn it on when they get to the scene and after they leave. There are exceptions in a body camera policy, though, such as, I mean, this may seem silly to you, but if you're going to the bathroom, please turn off your body camera. I don't want to watch it. If you go in a house and you do a search and the items you were looking for aren't there and you need to go talk to your confidential informant, you should shut your camera off. You don't want to put them on a video because they're not going to talk to you to say, hey, any idea where they could be? You're going to shut your camera off for that few minutes. So there's just exceptions, and if we have a very thorough body-worn camera policy that I don't think needs changing.
Okay, I just had a few things. Those are the few things I had just to kind of put things into perspective, because even though me personally, I think no-knocks don't have much of a place in law enforcement, my constituents have reached out to me in the opposite stance, unfortunately. But I do want to see some sort of at least actionable thing on our side with discussions, and I know this came forward, and then we had people at our houses from the union before we even hit the agenda officially, but just trying to make things better, and I know the intention is there, and I know in principle I want to support, but I know I have people who are my constituents who currently do not, and I'm going with what I have here. And again, I'm not the law enforcement expert, but I know policy stuff, and I know as someone who has to file a lot of things in twos and in triplicates and everything, like I like that, but I also know there are faults in those systems, especially in the finance world. Sometimes triplicate just means you have one person auto sign. So I guess I could use a chart of how this goes through just so I can understand it fully, but I really want to see something where it shows that we are fighting for people who do not have advantages to be able to get quick legal aid and may fall prey to practices that don't actually help them, because I know that does happen in law enforcement. So thank you.
All right, Commissioner Runberg hasn't spoken yet, and then And then I have Commissioner, I'm trying to go through, we kind of had, folks haven't spoken yet, and I'll get around to everybody who wants to speak. Commissioner Rundberg.
Thank you. Just a few things, two primarily. The first one is to Commissioner Tenney's point, there are, I believe, ways that we could still accommodate sensitive information with this resolution. To your example of working with an informant, they don't necessarily have to be in the camera to communicate with them. I'm sure there's ways we could work around that. I think that if we get creative, there's ways that we can still protect sensitive information. To the point I wanted to bring up initially, though, is in all transparency, it's no secret that I myself had dealt with addiction for many years. I've been clean for going on 6 years now, and you can eat off of my criminal record. It's that clean, and I'm fortunate in that regard. However, in 2018, I did have a no-knock raid warrant served on my property. I have no record of possessing firearms or anything to that nature, and yet it was one of the most traumatic days of my life was when my door got battered in and I had multiple people with guns drawn raiding my house. Again, there was no indication whatsoever that I was a dangerous subject, person of interest. Fortunately, I had nothing on me and got off scot-free on that too, so you can still eat off my record. I'm also an Army veteran. Combat Arms, was a cavalry scout, did reconnaissance. I was a dismount on the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, so I have conducted my fair share of no-knock entries. And they are extremely dangerous, and I don't take that lightly. But I do think that given the news that we see across the country and the far too many to count instances where there have been fatalities on either the officer or the persons of interest or bystander side, I think that there is some meaningful progress that can be made on this, and I think that there is a solution we can come to. I do wish that we would have approached the Department of Public Safety through the city manager proactively to discuss this. With that, and considering the concerns that we have regarding Section 5 and how we handle the direction of city staff because of the city charter, I move that we table this resolution until the next meeting to allow time to have conversations and see if we can't come up with creative language that would accommodate, that both parties could feel, all stakeholders could feel mutually comfortable with, and we can resolve whatever issue we have with Section 5.
So it would be a refer to staff?
Yes.
So, okay, just want to make sure, you refer to staff. Is there objection to refer to staff? So that's Commissioner Tenney. Well, is there a second on that to refer to staff?
I don't mind referring to staff, but we still have commissioners with questions, and I think they should have the ability to
You can still have discussion afterwards. Yeah, if there's not, is there any second to Commissioner DeWitt?
I'll second at this point.
All right, just so discussion on the tabling. So it can be open discussion on anything. Okay. So Commissioner Cubitt wanted to speak, and she hasn't spoken yet.
That's okay. We can process the pending motion.
It sounds like other people want to speak, so if you don't want to speak right now, that's fine.
Oh, I have plenty of questions, but
Okay,
if we're going
why
to
don't-
table it anyway, that can wait to a different time.
We won't know until we vote. So it's up to you. If you want to wait on your questions, that's fine.
Sure, I'll go ahead and ask my questions.
Okay.
As to the current policy for storing the body cam footage, what is the current storage policy for search warrants?
It's not specific to search warrants, but for felonies, it's 7 years. For misdemeanors, it's 5 years. So any of these search warrants is going to involve a felony investigation, so it would be a minimum of 7 years.
Okay, so
Could be more depending on the felony.
So the current policy for storing the body cams is actually more than the proposed 5 years of storage in this resolution.
Correct.
I'm hoping to get some clarity regarding exigent circumstances. I am not a criminal lawyer, but I remember that there are tomes and tomes of case law regarding what qualifies as exigent circumstances. And something that I'm trying to understand is in the language of the resolution, it talks about in section 3, you know, when executing a search warrant, officers must adhere to knock and announce procedure, and I'm skipping a sentence. They must wait a reasonable amount of time for occupants to answer before entering unless there are exigent circumstances defined by law. What I heard from Sergeant Krasminski is that he said that the only time and the only way that you could get a knock and announce search warrant from a judge is if there is evidence and basically a showing, and the judge agrees, that there are exigent circumstances, that like that's what a no-knock is. And I guess that's where I'm struggling, because so that I'm struggling with, and then I'm also trying to think through the hypothetical that if we had this rule in place that we're not allowed to do no-knocks, and then the officer gets, you know, a regular warrant, goes to the door, tries to do the regular procedure, I'm trying to understand what the exigent circumstances could possibly be that would change things.
Well, it's a little bit of semantics when you're talking. It's hard to predict exigent circumstances. Like, you're describing things that possibly could be exigent circumstances to get a no-knock search warrant. Like, this person's dangerous, we think they have this, we've been told they have this, but it's not, to me, it's not really exigent until it's happening. So if, say you had a normal search warrant and you walk up and you see, you know, a person in the window point a gun out at you, that's an exigent circuit. You don't have to go up and knock still. Hey, search warrant. You can react to that.
I understand and I appreciate that your definition of exigent circumstances is in the moment, that you can't predict exigent circumstances, that if you're asking for a no-knock warrant, maybe a different phrase, because that has a special term of art. That
I would call it something other than exigent circumstances, but I can see how you could.
I understand what you're saying. I appreciate that. I'm also trying to think through, if we don't have this extremely rare tool in the toolbox for local law enforcement, what the practical effect would be, what those options would be. I think I've heard one option is that you wouldn't do anything because you wouldn't want to put your police in danger. I think I heard somebody else suggest that there would be trying to get some other agency to do it, like Bay County Sheriff's Department, or, you know, I don't know if the state police would do, if there's any possibility for another agency to do it. I don't know if asking another agency to do it would be considered a violation of this policy if we passed it. Can you think of any other options if this passes,
Another agency is not going to come do it for us. That's, like, I've heard people mention that, but I would say that the chances of that are slim to none. They're just not. That doesn't happen. They're not going to say, oh, since you can't do it, we're just going to come do it for you.
It's my understanding that the language proposed here, I guess I shouldn't speak for it, but that there are many other similar resolutions that have been passed by local municipalities around the country since Breonna Taylor was killed in 2020. And I'm asking if you know of any jurisdictions that have passed language that's similar to this that have had negative outcomes.
I don't know of any personally. I know, I want to say, I don't have specifics on it, but I know like Grand Rapids has something akin to a no-knock, but they don't have to go up and knock at the door. They can surround the house and announce, like different semantics to it. Like this specifically says you have to go up and physically knock on the door. I've not seen that.
So I think I heard the example of, in a prior attempt at getting a no-knock, there was somebody who, there was evidence to show he kept a sawed-off shotgun next to his bed, had somehow made threats that shotgun would be used, and I think there was something else, I'm not...
Had some pipe bombs as well in the...
Okay. I think I heard that that police officers try to execute warrants outside of the home to avoid that sort of situation. But if somebody is not leaving their home, and they're, you know, booby trapping their home, and you have that kind of scenario, if we haven't, you know, if you determine that no-knock was the only option for that very dangerous and unique situation, and that is not an option because we passed this resolution, what could Bay City do if we had a repeat of that incident?
It's a good question. Hope for the best. I mean, we're not, when I say I'm not going to put officers in harm's way, like we're in harm's way all the time, that's not, you know, accurate. I'm just not going to put them unnecessarily in harm's way. I'm not going to put them in a dangerous situation that could be prevented by not doing it. It's just, you know, obviously we have people that, you know, I always said before I had to become a fireman, people that run into burning buildings are dumb, but here I am joining the ranks, and you do it because you have to. But there's a certain line where the risk isn't worth the reward. I'm not going to put a uniformed officer knocking on somebody's door that has a gun that's threatening to shoot us.
In Section 3 of the resolution, it says, this includes physically knocking on an entry door. Do you have any concerns with the specific requirement of that phrase?
Yes, that's what I'm, even no-knock search warrants that I've been to, they always announce, as I said before, you know, announcing from a PA that doesn't qualify here. They'd have to still go up and knock on the door, and that just doesn't, to me, doesn't make good sense.
I know we're trying to talk about if this were tabled, if there were any room for conversations and tweaking. Is that an example of one phrase that could potentially be worked on?
Yeah, as I said, I think our policies are sufficient the way they are now, but like getting rid of the physically knocking on a door would make me make this less, I don't know what the word is.
I understand. Thank you.
All right, I'll second. Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
Okay, what I want to ask is, have you ever did a no-knock and without calling a judge for a warrant?
No.
I hear you say you would not like to be in harm's way. Isn't that your job? Aren't you supposed to protect and serve?
Yeah, we're kind of crossing the line a little bit here.
I'm saying you were supposed to protect and serve. This is what you went to school for. This is isn't this like...
Absolutely, we put ourselves in harm's way, but we're not doing it recklessly to get ourselves hurt for no reason.
I understand that. That's like saying like 9/11 happened. And those 911 workers, they were prepared to do everything in their power to save life. Is that not your job?
A point of order, I'm not sure where we're going with this. I think the director does, and any officer knows when they take the job, they're putting themselves in the line of danger.
But the thing is that I need to ask him how he feels.
You're grilling him on his job.
I'm asking
Is there any specific questions regarding this no-knock, more specific? But is it specific to the no-knock situation? Yeah, but when you're out of line, I have the...
Point of order.
Okay, I think we're going to move... Commissioner Tenney had some questions.
All right. Take my rights away to speak?
Wait, thank you. Just a few things. I'm going to try and be brief. Through the mayor...
A black woman ain't got no rights, right?
Commissioner.
Has nothing to do...
Through the mayor to the city manager, why did the unions know about this policy before the agenda was released?
Sorry, why does who?
Why did the union know about this policy before the agenda was released?
Because I shared it with the public safety director, which is important for the department heads to know what's coming.
Okay, fair enough. Is that standard practice?
Yes, I have always done that.
Okay, it was just new news to me because I haven't had somebody reach out from a department or related to a policy right after I've emailed it to you,
No,
right?
and I understand. I think it's appropriate for the director to be prepared, correct? And it takes some time, especially with a resolution like this, to put together information.
Sure, fair enough. And something that I spoke with the director about on my way in that I will totally own is the fact that I could have and should have perhaps went to you and asked for a meeting with Director Rowell. So I will do better with that going forward. Even if our conversations are a test in futility, we'll try and do better, or I will try and do better and speak with you more directly. A couple of different things. Sorry, I'm done asking city manager stuff now. So when I was speaking with the union reps, one of the things they brought up is that, not going to announce can be very dangerous, right? Officers that should have, could have, would have, didn't use a no-knock warrant have been hurt. I said, do you have statistics? The response was no. I did hear of the incident that was mentioned from a union speaker earlier where officers were, and U.S. Marshals were unfortunately shot and killed in line of duty. Again, back to the director's point, I guess that's anecdotal evidence. But I did try to research it, and what I looked up was, do knock and announce warrants hurt people? Do people get killed because of knock and announce? What I found was kind of what inspired this, the opposite. No knock warrants are unsafe and people get killed. By and large, a disproportionate number compared to knock and announce, it would seem. Instead of saying, aha, there's my confirmation bias, this is what I already thought, I tried finagling my words at least 5 different ways to come up with a bunch of examples of instances where I might be wrong, and I could not find anything. One of the things I've heard is that this is a tool that law enforcement would like to have. If it's a tool that harms people generally, I would rather just take away that tool. That said, I would like to move to amend this resolution. I would like to add a sentence, and I will give this to the clerk after.
We have a motion and second on the floor currently to table it first. So we would need to take a vote on that unless there's any objection to, if there's objection, we'll vote on that.
I do have a point of order, a point of information, I suppose, and/or. When you clarified what I was doing with the motion, it was to table it till the next meeting. It wasn't to refer to staff. I wanted to allow the commissioner to be able to address some of the language issues and concerns that were in the resolution's text, and I'm not sure how we handle that.
Yep, so you'd still have to refer it. Tabling means we're going to deal with it tonight. We're just going to table it for now, and we're going to pick it back up later and deal with it, and we're not doing that.
But I could refer back to the commissioner, though.
Refer, so you can refer back to the commissioner, or you can just refer it to the next meeting as long as city manager knows exactly how that's going to come.
Are we still able to do that since there was a second on the original?
As long as they're amenable to the change. So you want to refer back to the commissioner?
Correct.
Yeah, we can make, that's fine, yeah.
Okay. So then there's second, are you amenable to that? To who seconded it? Oh, yep. Are you amenable to that?
That's how I understood it too, so yes.
Okay. All right. So there's a vote before we get to yours on the change. So we'll vote on whether or not to refer back to the commissioner. Is there any objection to that? To refer back to commissioner? I don't see anyone. So are you objecting? Okay. So Commissioner Tenney objects. So we'll vote on that objection. So could you read what it means?
Yeah, so the vote is we need to take care of this. So the vote is going to be a yes means you agree with the motion, which is to refer it to commissioner. A no means you do not wish to refer it to the commissioner, and we can continue with an amendment. All good? Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
Push button.
No.
Tenney,
No.
DeWitt,
Yes.
Rumberg,
Yes.
Charlebois,
Yes.
Morris,
No.
Cubit,
Yes.
Coakley,
No.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
5.
Okay, and so it passes to refer back to the commissioner. Any other business for us tonight? Seeing none, we are adjourned.